For thousands of years, people have been relying on nature to care for themselves and provide shelter and food, and that history is in our DNA. And getting in touch with that and taking care of yourself, the confidence you get out of that is unmatched by anything I've ever experienced. We're about halfway done building the actual frame. Next we're gonna have to weave in and out smaller like saplings. After we get a bunch of rings all the way to the top, we're gonna take pine boughs over there, and then we're gonna start layering them on, hooking them into the hoops we make around it. For a final touch, we're gonna get a bunch of peat moss and layer it, and it'll be completely waterproof. This is our first fire. I just collected some birch bark. It's basically just stuff that was starting to peel off the tree anyhow. It's like paper, and it's full of flammable oils, as you can see. Like, it's like gasoline. The reason I started digging into bushcraft and practicing, more primitive outdoor skills is just to kind of open up my possibilities for deeper travel experiences. There's a lot of places, especially in Canada, that you could never see. You got to kind of work for it, and you can't bring a lot of things with you. You have to be able to travel light and take care of yourself in the bush. And being alone, you gain a sense of self that you don't gain from anything else. You really find yourself, and you're forced to make peace with your situations, and you have to just accept. You just have to submit to certain things and make the best of them, and just basic lessons that you come out with. I would say nature is the only place you can really discover who you really are in a healthy way. You kind of learn to just flow with things. All the stuff from back in the real world leaves your head, and you're left with the most basic of functions. It forces you to make peace with yourself and find out who you really are, and separate yourself from other people's ideas of you or your own ideas of you. You're left with the bare essentials of who you are, which is an animal on Earth, really a product of Mother Nature. When you realize that, it simplifies so much. There's constantly more to learn, more to improve upon. Really, it's just opened my eyes to see how much everything relies on something else, down to like the smallest of creatures or plants. We're a part of that cycle. We're a part of that organism, and the world around you is kind of speaking to you. There's so many secrets of the natural world that you would never really understand or see without getting into it. Very quickly, we've passed from knowledge of the earth and more primitive skills into an industrial world that abandoned a lot of the skills and the knowledge that we had before. There's a tough balance there between technology and self-reliance, and where the two come together. I don't think it's necessary to do everything yourself. We can specialize in things more and be freer with our art, because there's other people doing certain things for us. We can rely upon their skills to focus on things we're more interested in. But at the same time, a balance somewhere in there is what we need to find. Whether you always use the skills or not, I think it should be really important to have them, and you appreciate technology more. You see the value of working with your own hands. There's an appreciation for nature, and really where the technology comes from is, Earth's resources. I think what we're coming to now with climate change, if you don't have experience in nature, you don't touch that part of yourself that evolved from this earth. And if you don't experience these things, you don't appreciate the natural world. you're not going to care about what happens to it. And I think ignorance in that area is what's led to so much destruction and waste of resources that really aren't that renewable. When I was about 5 or 6, we lived across from a really large forest, and if I didn't have school, I was there 8 to 10 hours a day, fishing, turning over logs to see what kind of insects were under there, trying to catch animals, spiders and snakes, and just watching water roll by. That's when it started for me, and it never stopped. I'm so grateful to my parents for taking me to new places and showing me that there's so much to the world. And they got it from my grandparents, and now I'm adding my own flavors to it and teaching my daughter new things. She's proof to me that it's in everybody. I know it's in her forever now. Nothing can glue you together tighter than sharing it with your friends, with your family. Experiencing new things together is what it's all about. To be with people in a natural setting, away from all the noise, and especially these days, no phones. I mean, you form bonds with people you travel with like you don't form with anyone else. If I could do anything for people, it would be to get them to get off their couch and get outside. I guarantee most people, even in their own backyards, there's so many places they don't even realize are there. You don't need to go to the north or across the globe or anything. The natural world is thriving everywhere. If you can hike off into a bush somewhere and just a knife and an axe, some camping gear, it doesn't cost you very much. The only way to really experience something with all of your senses and making it, a part of you, a part of your life, you just have to get out there and do it. I guess it's worth it to go see new places. I can't think of a better thing to spend your money on than going somewhere, than going just anywhere. Just go somewhere you haven't been. Each experience, each trip kind of has its own unique mark that it leaves on you, just to make you a more well-rounded person. Seeing the way other people used to live is an important thing, I think. Even within your own country, Native people's way of relating to Earth is totally different than what you generally grow up with. Every culture really has something amazing to add to the global society, I would say. And when you see other people and you see the way they live, you learn to respect people. The more we open ourselves up to other people's cultures and ways of life, the richer your life is, and just the more perspective you gain and understanding of an appreciation for differences. When you die, you're not bringing any money with you. At the end of your days, what do you want to be able to look back on? Years worth of TV watching and video games, or time spent with your friends and real life relationships and connections and memories of places that you've seen and come to know.
over your life. That's what kind of drives me. I just want to get the most out of life. And what I've come to decide for myself is that it's about traveling and experiencing new things and living close to nature.